Good Friday morning, everyone, and welcome into today's daily Bible reading for August the 2nd. So we have reached the 8th month of the year. Thanks so much for all the time that you've spent with me reading throughout the Psalter throughout this year. I hope our first 7 months of reading have been a blessing to you and that you feel as if you have a greater grasp on the Psalter and that meditating upon these Psalms on a daily basis. I hope that it has been a blessing to you as you've started your day off many days thinking on things above. And I hope that it, again, has been a blessing to you in many different ways. Let's keep reading here in Psalm 94 today. The 94th Psalm has been given the title in my Bible, The Just Judge. I really like if I can remember right, the returner of vengeance, or something that nature, was a different translation, because remember the titles in our Bibles are not within the text themselves, but instead they are let's see here. A God who punishes. Another translation. Remember, the titles themselves are not in the manuscripts. The bolded portions of the text, those are provided by the translators just to give us a good idea of what the next section of scripture is going to bring. In the TEV, which I'm not exactly sure what that is, some sort of English version, their title is A God Who Punishes. Here we have in the CSB, The Just Judge. I'm sure there's other translations that have a number of other different titles as well, but along the lines of justice and judging, punishment for the wicked, vengeance upon those who are wicked. That's the main idea of what we're seeing here within this psalm. Again, just for your benefit, to know kind of some more information, the Septuagint version of the Old Testament scriptures, the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, tells says in it that this is a psalm of David, so it attributes it to David, and says that this psalm is a psalm for the fourth day of the week, which is just an interesting thing to think about. So I guess that would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, I guess. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Wednesday. So this would be a psalm for Wednesdays. Again, take that for what it's worth. I'm sure there's something behind that. There's some reason why those translators would have put that in there. Don't exactly know what it is, but just something to add to our knowledge of this psalm. But here in Psalm 94, again, the just judge, the God who punishes, vengeance is at the heart of this, and I think that allows us then to categorize this psalm in a couple different places. One might be, of course, identifying this as an imprecatory psalm, where the psalmist is calling upon God's justice and judgment against wicked people. We've seen that in a few psalms already. But I think we can also categorize this as a trust psalm, because within this text, the author is obviously recognizing his trust in God to make things right in the end. So there is a sense here in which there is a short-term judgment. There's trust that God will make things right here, but ultimately in the end, on the last day of judgment, God will make all things right. Even though the wicked might look like they're getting away with it now, the reality is God sees, as we're going to see within this text, God sees everything, He hears everything, and He will make things right in the end. So let me get the text of Psalm 94 up on the screen for us, so we'll read along together here. Psalm 94, again, the just judge, or the God who punishes. Reading here, Psalm 94, beginning of verse number 1. Psalm 94, verse number 1. Yahweh, God of vengeance, shine. Rise up, judge of the earth. Repay the proud what they deserve. Yahweh, how long will the wicked celebrate? They pour out arrogant words. All the evildoers boast. Yahweh, they crush your people and they oppress your heritage. They kill the widow and the resident alien, and murder the fatherless. They say, Yahweh doesn't see it. The God of Jacob doesn't pay attention. You pay attention, stupid people. Fools, when will you be wise? Can the one who shaped the ear not hear? The one who formed the eye not see? The one who instructs nations, the one who teaches mankind knowledge, does he not discipline? Yahweh knows the thoughts of mankind. They are futile. Yahweh, how happy is anyone you discipline and teach from your law, to give him relief from wicked times until a pit is dug for the wicked. Yahweh will not leave his people or abandon his heritage, for the administration of justice will again be righteous, and all the upright in heart will follow it. Who stands up for me against the wicked? Who takes a stand for me against evildoers? If Yahweh had not been my helper, I would soon rest in the silence of death. If I say my foot is slipping, your faithful love will support me, Yahweh. When I am filled with cares, your comfort brings me joy. Can a corrupt throne be your ally? A throne that makes evil laws. They band together against the life of the righteous and condemn the innocent to death. But Yahweh is my refuge. My God is the rock of my protection. He will pay them back for their sins and destroy them for their evil. Yahweh, our God, will destroy them. Psalm number 94. Very strong language here from the author concerning the wicked. And yet all this is said, exhibiting trust in Yahweh as the just judge. As the text begin, we see this desire for Yahweh's justice, this desire for the God of justice to rise up and to repay the proud what they deserve, because he's looking around, it seems. The author is looking around at the wicked, and he's wondering, how long will the wicked prosper? How long will they be able to celebrate their wicked deeds? Well, what are their wicked ways? We see that in verses 4 through 7. They are people who pour out arrogant words. They boast. They even crush God's people. They oppress God's heritage. They kill the hope, or the helpless and the defenseless, the widow and the resident alien. They murder the fatherless. And notice this. This is key in verse number 7. This is a key point within this entire psalm. Yes, they're arrogant and they boast, crush people, oppress, kill, murder, all these things. But they think they're able to do so without impunity. They think they're able to do so without ever being held to account, because they say this is part of their arrogance. They say, well, Yahweh doesn't see. The God of Jacob doesn't pay attention. Now, this is not the first time we've seen this within the Psalter, way back in Psalm number 10 and verse number 11, as he's speaking about the wicked person. Again, this is a psalm of justice, the need for God's justice. This is a lament about the evil state of the world. Well, what does the wicked person say in Psalm 10 and verse 11? He says to himself, God has forgotten, he hides his face and will never see. Is that the case? Is God hiding and not seeing? I direct your attention back to Psalm 89. Remember the author of Psalm 89, which I do not believe we have that. Okay, it's on the Ezrahite. Within that psalm, we see the author. Again, I mentioned this on Wednesday with the kind of the organization of these psalms seems to be answering the question of whether or not God is hiding, or if you will hide forever. When, where are your former acts of faithful love, Yahweh? Where are these things? Is God still reigning? Is he still ruling? Beginning on this past Wednesday with Psalm 93, we're looking at a lot of these kingship psalms, although this one would not qualify as such. But many of these psalms are affirming the reality that God is listening, that God does see, that God does reign, that God is in control. Here, the claim in verse number 7 of Psalm 94 is that God doesn't see anything. They think that God's not going to hold them responsible. He doesn't see, he doesn't hear, he's not paying attention at all. But notice how the author comes back. He's like, no, you need to pay attention, you stupid people. You need to pay attention. You fools, you need to become wise. Because don't you think the creator that made the ear to hear himself can hear? Don't you think the creator who made the eyes to see himself can see? Don't you think the one who instructs and the one who teaches, don't you think he has all knowledge? Don't you think he knows how y'all think? Yes, he knows you very well. He hears you. He sees you. But for you specifically, he hears you and sees your wicked ways, and he is going to hold you accountable. He knows your thoughts. He knows your actions. He knows your wickedness, and you're not going to get away with it. Now, for those who he disciplines, those who are striving to live the right way, those who are described earlier as his people and his heritage, well, they'll be happy. Happy is anyone you discipline and teach from your law and to give him relief. The upright are blessed. The upright are in God's care. He will not leave his people or abandon his heritage. Remember, that's the question from back in Psalm 89. How long, Yahweh, will you hide forever? Will your anger keep burning like fire? Yahweh, where are the faithful acts of your faithful, or where are the former acts of your faithful love? Where are you? The author here says that God is there. He certainly sees it all. He will not leave his people or abandon his heritage, for the administration of justice will be righteous, and all the upright in heart will follow it. That Yahweh will administer justice the right way. He does all things well. And it seems that this is not just a theological understanding that the author has, but it seems like this is an anecdotal thing that he understands as well. Verse 16, who stands up for me against the wicked? Who takes a stand for me against the evildoer? If Yahweh had not been my helper, I would soon rest in the silence of death. If I say my foot is slipping, your faithful love will support me, Yahweh. When I am filled with cares, your comfort brings me joy. It seems as if the author himself has suffered in some way, has been oppressed by some sort of wickedness. But notice what he says. Notice that he says that Yahweh was his helper and he sustained him. That his feet were slipping, but his faithful love supported him. That he was filled with cares, but Yahweh brought him comfort. And this just adds to the evidence in his mind of God's perfect justice and God's faithfulness and his righteousness and the reality that he will uphold those who are faithful, but punish those who are wicked. After all, actually go back to verse 3 again. How long will the wicked celebrate? How long will it seem like they're being supported? Well, the reality is they're not. Because the question becomes, can a corrupt throne be your ally? A throne that makes evil laws? Well, of course, the answer to that is no. God cannot bear with wickedness. He cannot support it. They band together against the life of the righteous and condemn the innocent to death. The wicked go about carrying out these evil plans. They even come after your people specifically. They seek to destroy those who are faithful to you, those who are innocent. But here's where the author's confidence comes from. Yahweh is my refuge. My God is the rock of my protection. That Yahweh, again, will sustain me. Why does he believe this? Well, he believes this because of what he's already written concerning Yahweh's character, concerning the creator, obviously being aware of the creation. And then it seems that he's gone through something himself where God supported him. So Yahweh is my rock. He is my refuge. He is my protection. But for y'all, but for the wicked who are described within this text, for those who are evildoers, he will pay you back. He will pay you back for your sin. He will destroy you for your evil. Yahweh, our God, will destroy you. I changed the pronouns there, of course, because the way I'm reading this. But he will pay them back. Their sins are not going unheard. Their sins are not going unseen. God sees it all. He hears it all, and he will, as the title of this psalm in my Bible says, he will judge justly. He might do it now in this life, but without any doubt whatsoever, with all certainty, he will hold them to account in the next. Kind of like what we talked about this past Sunday, studying from Proverbs 1. Those wicked people, that wicked crowd, they go and they kill the innocents and plunder all their goods, and they think that they've really done something. They think that they've accrued a lot of wealth that's going to be the end all be all. But what's going to happen? At the end of the day, and by day we might mean a literal day, or by day we might mean at the end of their lives, they're going to fall into their own traps. And they might have gained the whole world, but they will lose their soul. And that's what we see here with the wicked. They might think that they are able to celebrate having gained the whole world, but really at the end of the day, their souls will be judged. God will bring vengeance upon, or bring vengeance for the faithful. And that's why it's so important for us to remember the teaching of the Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 12. I can go a long soapbox right now, but I won't, about just the wickedness that we see around us. Now we can become so frustrated and think that we need to take matters into our own hands in ways that we ought not. We need to remember the wise words of the Apostle Paul in Romans 12 and verse 19. Friends, do not avenge yourselves. Instead, leave room for God's wrath, because it is written, the vengeance belongs to me. I will repay, says the Lord. He is the just judge. He is a God who will bring vengeance upon the wicked. We simply need to trust him and allow him to work out that justice in due time. I appreciate so much you taking some time to read along with me today on this Friday. I hope that you have a great start to your weekend and look forward to being with everybody on Sunday as we'll be studying along our theme. Since the first Sunday of August, we'll be continuing our theme on family matters. Very much looking forward to studying with you then and being with everybody this upcoming Sunday. And we'll be back at it again, reading together on Monday from Psalm 95, Worship and Warning. Worship and Mourning. We'll be getting back to thinking about God as the King and some good thoughts to consider on Monday. Hope to see you then. Take care and God bless.